Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of PitchUs. My name's Tim Cooley, the author of the Pitch Tech book. Today I am joined with Jeff Erickson and Josh Firsthoss. I hope I didn't butcher that too badly. Jeff, please introduce yourself.
Jeff, you want to go first? I'll go first.
Go for it, okay. Josh. I want the celebrity guest to go first here.
Okay. Well, my name is Josh Firsthoss. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Incube. We do real-time financial data in the private markets. It's very exciting. I also help run a venture firm in Austin called Executive Enterprise Fund. We invest in BE SaaS. We also have a large syndicate of 650 corporate executives who follow on with us. And yeah, I also mentor at Alchemist Accelerator for fintech, medtech, and defense and government technology.
Love it. Yeah, it's great. Josh, thanks for joining us. I've known Josh for a little while, a great entrepreneur, also has experience, like he said, in mentoring with Alchemist and some other great groups as well. My name is Jeff Erickson. I am with Forecaster. We make financial modeling easy for founders and also an angel investor. We're super excited to have Gavin join us today. And so with that, Gavin, we'll let you go ahead and pitch us.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, so my name is Gavin Phillips. I'm the CEO of our PhotoArtist app. So the vision for PhotoArtist is to become a global photo effects app and later video editing as well, inspire people's creativity by teaching them cool new tips, and users will be part of a free creative community built for the app. So what are the problems with existing photo apps? Just a bit of background. I've been in the business for over 20 years. I know selling Photoshop plugins and other add-on software to creative users. So the first thing I noticed when I download all the premium apps was that a lot of the effects don't work properly or they're missing critical editing tools. The other thing is I've been a teacher in that 20-year period as well and made over 1,000 movie tutorials. And that's a big part. It's really important for our users to learn new creative tips. And that's one of the things I noticed with the competition. If they do have movie tutorials, they're very poorly made. The other thing is the moment you download most of these premium apps, the first thing they ask for is a credit card, which is a big negative. A lot of people will just delete it right there. And forcing people onto subscriptions. That's another mistake. You don't want to do that. There's a smarter way to charge for the premium effects, and we're going to jump into that now. So the solutions are engage users with the most popular photo effects handpicked by me. I know which effects are the best sellers, which are really popular. Build loyalty with users by offering some parts of the effect for free. And give people choices for paying for the premium effects. So, pay as you go, then later offer bundles so they can buy 3, for a discount. And later we would also offer a subscription, but give them the choice. And then a big part of PhotoArtist is to build a thriving creative community around the app, include other creative software, which drive users to PhotoArtist. So what's the solution then? So the solution is, initially it would be, I looked at our best-selling effects, and the first effect will be the photo brushes. So I'm just going to minimize the deck here for a second and show you a different screen. I'm going to show you a very quick movie. So this will show you, this is a mock-up of exactly how the photo brushes work in an app. So you pick a brush, and you can tap on the screen. And here's another example. You've got a different brush, and you use the brush as a kind of a framing device. This is what photo brushes is, and this will be our MVP. So this is another design. So here we've got the baseball kid. You start with a white background, and with one of the custom brushes, as you tap on the screen, you reveal the photo using the unique brush design. Okay, and then you can save that, and you can try a different brush. Okay, and this one has the randomizer feature on it, where when you tap the screen, it automatically rotates and changes its size. So you can get some really cool different brush designs, and then of course you can share them on social media with all your friends. Now with the teenager here, I just tapped a couple of times with one of the grunge brushes, and you can come up with something really quick. Now with the baby, experimented with a pink background, but let's be more creative and use one of the watercolor brushes with the randomizer feature, and you can brush in your own background, and then I just brushed in the baby. So you've got a lot of creative ways to go with the photo brushes. You can even use them as just designs on their own without even using a photo. So you can just have different brush designs as well. It's another addition. Now, another thing you can do with the photo brushes is add different backgrounds. So I added a photo of Brooklyn Bridge, and here I added a nice sky photo with some birds. So as you can see, there's a lot of creative ways to go with the brushes and with using different backgrounds. And I'll just show a few before and afters. So this is why I chose photo brushes. It's a really cool effect. It's easy to use. It's fun, and it's very creative. And there's a lot of ways to come up with different creative effects by combining the brushes together. And our idea is that, you know, you offer them a couple of brushes for free and then 20 brushes as a one-time payment, okay, as an upsell. Okay, so they do get a little bit for free, and then they can, you know, pay a small amount, but they're not being forced onto subscriptions that they don't want. So I'll just leave it there for that little demonstration, and I'll bring back up the deck here. So moving along, you know, there are a lot of other ways to generate revenue from the app. Okay, so one of the first ones after the premium photo effects would be photo printing, to offer our customers a way to print their photos. And that's quite an easy way to do that through custom APIs, through different printing companies. They will white label it for us. And then, as I mentioned before, we want to offer a community spirit, something a bit more social, so that our users can share what they're doing with the different effects on FotoArtist. And the art sharing forum wouldn't just be limited to FotoArtist. It would involve, you know, it would encourage other graphics programs users, have sections for different graphics programs users like Photoshop users, etc. So here are three of the biggest players in this market. As you can see, Lightricks, PixArt, and Vesco. You can see what the valuations are. And here you can see what their revenues were for 2021. You know, they're making obviously a lot of money, but when you drill down on their numbers, as I mentioned before, they have a lot of zombie downloads, because a lot of people, you know, they download it, they don't want to put in a credit card. Then you know, the next step is they might try it for a month with the full subscription and then delete it, or just don't go back to it, or just cancel the subscription. Here's some numbers for the market opportunity. Global app revenue grew 31% year over year in Q1 2021 to nearly 32 billion. The median price of in-app purchases has grown considerably, and photo and video downloads in iOS, and they normally put photo and video together, increased by just over 22% in 2020 compared to 2019. And you know, photo and creative popularity, it's very popular. You know, probably most of you have heard of Procreate, which is a creative drawing program. This is an interesting one. This is a photo app, Touch Retouch, and all it does is one thing. It just allows people to remove annoying things in the background. And Instagram was the most downloaded app in the first quarter of 2022. So, immediate and future revenue streams, I've mentioned some of them. Custom APIs is another interesting one, where you can share our effects with other companies or networks. Okay, so FotoArtist would be child-friendly. You might even get some schools interested in offering a creative app to their students or to kids, because it's better for them to be creative than playing video games. Another one is the stock photo service. This is, you know, it's a huge business, and it's got a very low entry point, because photographers who take stock photography, they work off of revenue from the sales of that stock photography. So, and there's a number of others in here that we've also identified, photo gifting, video as well. So the market acquisition channels, I've spoken at length, and I've worked with micro-influencers. I spoke with a social media marketing expert who I know is extremely good. She has a small agency, and she works with micro-influencers on a weekly basis. So just to give you an idea of the kind of micro influencers we will be targeting. Here's a young lady. She does scrapbooking, which is a niche within photo editing. It's very popular. Millions of people do it. She's got about 100,000 subscribers, and for this particular video, she got 120,000 views. And what you do is with micro influencers, you look for them between 20,000 and about 100,000 subscribers, but you really drill down on the traction and engagement. If they've got a really engaged audience, those are the people that you want to work with. And also the really professional ones only want to work with brands or companies that they think are a very good fit for their channel, right? So, they will only review PhotoArtist if they think it's a great fit for them. So returning back to the pitch deck, the founding team, myself, Ian Byland has a lot of experience in business. He's been in business for himself his entire life and brings a lot of experience to the table that I don't have. And Rebecca is my sister. She's a long-term contracts lawyer, so she can help with the software contract for creating these effects and make sure that everything is delivered the way that we want it. And the final slide is the ask. The current funding needs is $170,000, equity at 20%, and the allocation of those funds would be the cost of the app development. The initial MVP is around $30,000. We've spoken to app development companies, and we've got that figured down. And then, obviously, the rest of a lot of the money would go on the marketing through those micro influencers on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, and that's it. Yes, sorry, and Instagram. And that wraps up my pitch.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, so I can.
Great job. Right around about 10 minutes ish. So that's really good timing wise. All right. So what we love to do is start off with things that we like. Josh, please kick it off for us.
Yeah, the first thing that came to my head is this is Canva on mobile, and I like that because Canva is really nice, and I'm bad at Photoshop, and honestly, I think that makes sense, that piece of it. Trying to think. I like the Canva on mobile piece. I really liked your demo from the standpoint of when you went out of your deck and you started showing the demo video. I thought that was incredibly impactful, and it really illustrated what you're doing here. So that's my feedback right there.
Yeah, I'm going to build on what Josh said. Honestly, I was a little nervous when you said, okay, we're going to go out of the deck and go to the, a video / demo. I was like, oh no, that doesn't always work perfectly, but you pulled it off. And honestly, like Josh said, that was a really impactful part of the presentation. I could see how people would go, this is cool, I would use this. And so I thought that was a great piece of the presentation. I guess the other things, Tim always gives the feedback that he loves it when you end with your ask slide. It was all right there. So I thought that was, I don't know if you've watched previous episodes, but that's something that Tim always applauds.
I did watch, I watched a couple of yours,
Okay, so you picked up on that. I did have a couple questions, and maybe we'll get to some of that. But so Tim, maybe I'll let you kind of, things up on.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo what everyone's saying. I think you did a great job. The demo I was really nervous about, honestly, but it was really good. I think we can make it stronger. But I will say this for all the listeners. If the demo is that great at explaining what you're doing, a video can be great. It's not always that way. And I would say it's very rarely that way. So Gavin, this is a perfectly great example of a company where a video can work in a good way. So that's not always the case.
Okay.
I also even though it took about an extra 1/10 of a second to get your background, I love starting with people's background. We get why you're in this. I think we can expand on that a little bit more. But 20 years in this industry to kind of build a product that you would love to see exist makes a ton of sense. And so I think those are some good things. And like Jeff mentioned, I love seeing an ask slide at the end. So those are some big areas that I liked. But I think there's a lot of areas that we can help you with. And so why don't we start with that? Josh, kick us off with some positive, some areas of
Yeah, so
opportunity.
there's two kind of big ones. So the first one is, this is a presentation deck, and I found there to be an immense amount of words on a lot of these slides, especially when you're talking about a company that's focused on design, and design and imagery is your big thing, where I think that imagery and design needs to take center stage in the deck, and you need to let pictures speak a lot more rather than giant blocks of text. There's a great way that, like, for example, on your background slide, talking about your team, you can simply just put the logos of the companies that those people have worked at and like a little blurb next to it, what they did there, instead of having the wall of text. As someone watching a pitch, what happens when you have a wall of text there for me is I start trying to read the text, and then I miss some of the important things that you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, we hear that often. We see that as a common thing in a lot of the presentations that we do. So yeah, great feedback, Josh. I think that's super helpul.
Yeah, that's great.
Anything else? You mentioned two things, Josh.
It was the imagery and then the text. These are super small nitpicks, but the affiliate agreements for your distribution, affiliate agreements you can just be out there asking people to sign affiliate agreements. You don't need to actually pay for that. Like, you can get a lawyer to write one up, and you can just go do that. So I don't think heavy amounts of spend needs to be there. And then regarding the $170,000, there's a lot of support that's going to be required for this application ongoing. And I would consider the fact that it's not just like done when you create the application. There's ongoing technical needs to support an application. So yeah, I just think that might cost more than that.
Might be a little light. Yeah.
Agreed.
So Josh, again, great insights and great feedback. I'm gonna start off by saying that a lot of times we'll start out with a problem, and I don't know that I ever totally grasped the total problem. Now, at the same time, I think what recovered that was the demo and how it's used, and I thought it had that cool aspect to it. So that kind of overcame that. But I wonder if there's something you do to hammer that home a little bit more on what is really the problem you're solving. I'm not sure.
Let me add to that, Jeff, real quick. Some companies are entertainment focused, and they don't necessarily solve a problem. For example, like a movie doesn't solve a problem, right? Other than like you're bored. And so one thing to think about, Gavin, in that element is you're creating a new way of entertainment, connection, and it may not be that direct problem solution that we like, and there are some elements here. But for example, if you did do it, you're like, look, the number one downloaded thing in all editing is brushes, and there's not an app that does brushes, right? Like, let's say you could take it that simply, but in reality, that would be a problem solution, and so like that might be an opportunity. But the other one is sometimes it's like people just want to do cool things, and here's another cool thing to do. And it's not the best, but I'm just there.
That was awesome.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think you're spot on, because that would have helped me understand a little bit better of problem solution, or maybe it's just going in and saying, hey, this is something that we've had some validation in the market that this is needed and liked, and here's the opportunity. So that goes into a couple other things. In terms of market size and, just the opportunity, what I kept coming back to throughout the presentation was, okay, this is an app, and I could see this as being part of something else. How big of an opportunity is this with an app? And then you'd bring in things like Visco and these others, saying that, those were also just apps. So I wanted to see, I guess, a little bit more of a correlation to this is the market opportunity that we see for, for this application. And I think what prevented me from getting there was you mentioned all these revenue streams, and I had a hard time figuring out how you were going to monetize some of those things and what the real opportunity was. So even though you said photo printing is huge, I didn't know what that meant. Community, I wasn't sure where the revenue was associated with community. Custom APIs, I just didn't get a good feel for where is this money coming from and how much are we talking about? And so I think that was a missing element for me of just trying to figure out if you really do have your revenue model pinned down. So, and I think you could probably clarify that more, but it just wasn't clear.
Right.
Could I add something really quick?
Yeah, go for it, Josh.
Yeah.
I think a vast improvement to the deck actually would be adding a roadmap. So you talk about a lot of things like this is an app, and now it's a platform, and now it's I'm trying to say, and now we're literally selling physical photos. So laying a lot of these ideas out on a roadmap and dividing that maybe between your business goals, like how you're going to monetize this, and the product goals, like where these APIs even fit in and what you're necessarily APIing into, and just being like, I'm not trying to do this all in this 170K. That's not the MVP. I'm trying to do just this piece in the next 4 months.
Right.
And then we're going to race around and bring.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. We're obviously, we're not going to do all of that for 170K. The 170K is to get us, good downloads and get us to the next stage. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and like Josh said, I think if you put that in a timeline, and this goes to my last point that I'll make is and it's related, is on your ask slide. I think we want to know what's that $170,000 going to get you. And to Josh's point, I think you're probably a little light. I mean, when you say $170,000, I think a lot of folks are saying, okay, is that enough? And where is that really going to get you? And what's the next thing after that to really get this thing to take off? And the way you presented that as well, so asking $170,000 for 20% of the company, I would almost look at structuring that, and instead of saying that, that's such a low amount that you probably want to, structure it as a safe or a convertible note. And I would consider maybe increasing that ask to say, what could we do with at least $250,000, maybe $500,000, and have a plan in place to say this is what it would be used for, and even a use of funds breakdown. Because you mentioned that $30,000 was going to be used to develop the app.
So $30,000, right? Yeah, $30,000 is to develop the MVP.
Okay.
Right, with the MVP that I showed with the photo brushes and the chargeable for the extra brushes. Yeah, right.
Gotcha. And so I want to know what else that is included there, where this is going to get us. At the end of $170,000, is that in 6 months we're raising another, 500? Is it $1 million? What is kind of the roadmap in terms of your funding plan as well, and where does that get you?
What I would challenge is if you're trying to make an MVP on this, I think there's no-code solutions like Bubble.io that you could probably make a pretty easy MVP on this. Then you could demonstrate that MVP, see if people actually like it, and then probably I would do like $500K at like maybe on this product, maybe a $3 million post money, maybe lower. But I don't know, Jeff, what do you think about that?
Yeah,
we don't want to give legal advice.
Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry. I apologize.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, I would agree with everybody so far. But I want to take this back a little bit and touch back on what Josh mentioned at the beginning. This is a branding deck, and your background in Photoshop needs to come through in this deck. I think it would be beautiful to see the product in action throughout the deck. Like, see what brushes can do. Like, maybe that's how you even introduce the ask and stuff. Like, but that visual element of the product in this case being used throughout the presentation is just critically important. A couple areas, Josh mentioned font. Your font size is just so small in some cases. We recommend no less than 22. There's a standard set. I was just playing with PowerPoint today. Theirs is a 24. You could use either one of those, but make sure like no less than 22. It's just way too small. And it also encourages writing too much. And so that's one area that we can help. On your team slide, I did like the way that it was laid out. It was really pretty. And clearly your team's got great background in doing business things and industry expertise. I would recommend not mentioning your sister as part of the team. It's not that it's not that important. It's just not that important. Like it doesn't add any value to be your sister. It just happens to be you have a lawyer on your team. And I would leave it at that. This is a very common thing for people who are out there when it's husband and wife. We had Aaron on many episodes ago, and this was the same kind of comment that we had with them because they're a great founding team, but it is a husband and wife. And sometimes that can be an issue with investors. So keeping it in the family isn't always a great thing. One of the things that you mentioned or you didn't mention, I guess, would be traction. Like what have you done today, up to today? And it was really easy to notice. And I don't know if Jeff and Josh, you caught this, but you said can and will instead of are or am. Like I am doing this thing and we are doing these things, which are definitive statements. And can is more of a questional statement. And I'm listening for that, like we are pushing forward, going through and making this thing happen. And it's a little thing, but if you're taking it from what we've done so far, they're all just statements, not questions. Same thing with those milestones, right? From a traction point of view, you say, we did this, we are going to do these things. In the next 3 months, it's this. And it's like an is statement, right? And then 4 months later, is this. So it's like, that is what's happening. I think those would be huge. To piggyback on Jeff, and I'm surprised he didn't bring it up, but this really lacked financials. So business models need to be really clearly defined. So we do a pack of brushes of 10 for $10. In year one, we're going to sell 20 of those. In year two, 9,000. Like that's how your finances should be broken up. And it should be very, very clear where the money is going and being bought and then how that is projected over time. And so Forecaster does a great job of that. If that's some help that you're looking for, let us know. We can help. And then the other thing is, and I heard this beautifully said recently, is in this type of application, I want to know how this is fundamentally changing my user journey, right? So I'm going to go into TikTok. I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to use your app instead of their native app. And then I'm going to upload for whatever reason. And I think that was an element really missing in this, was that journey for me as a consumer, because I love playing with photo editing tools. And so like, how am I going to go from just straight up Google's native editing to your application and then back into whatever I was doing before? And so I think that would have been really, really helpful for us to grasp what's happening, right? So those are my thoughts at the moment. Any other feedback from Josh or Jeff?
I have a quick one, and this is more just advice. For the attraction thing, I think, again, going back to your Photoshop background, make a page on Wix. Create a wait list. It's like that would be a great start. Like I really think you make a wait list and a beautiful website and then use a no-code solution to make your MVP. Like I really think that's the way to go here. But you don't have to take my advice on that. The other thing is like about getting people excited. I think it's the Pixel 7 that we're on or something like that. But if you look at Google's commercials on the TV, literally every commercial Google is running right now is about their magic eraser on their camera app, right? It's awesome. And it's just one feature on their camera app. And if you can just say, we have one really, really, really cool feature that is like super unique in this industry, I don't know, there could be an exit strategy to a OEM of some cell phone to include in their camera app natively. And that might actually be the exit strategy here, which also is something that might want to be discussed. Is like, how does this business get liquidity?
Yeah, totally agree. I think this is a great example of that, right? Like we heard a couple episodes ago, Rich Mahoy, was that his name? Rich, VC, he's like, don't put that slide in. But I think in this case, because you're early enough, that exit plan is very, very
some
critical.
examples of this app was acquired by this tool or whatever, or this company. So yeah, totally agree. One other thing I had on here was, just asking about, intellectual property. What's the barrier to entry of somebody coming in and doing this? So I don't know if that's something you can address.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, so you're talking about, protecting it, right, from people, copying it or whatever. But yeah, obviously, the code would be, and I'm, the brushes to some extent can be copyrighted as well, So the other side to it is we would be first to market, and people, trying to copy generally are, they're behind you, so they're trying to get it out fast, so they cut corners. That's what there's a lot of nuance to when I showed you that little 2-minute movie. To make those photo brushes work properly and the right editing tools and everything that works properly, there's a lot of knowledge you have to make that work properly, right? So if somebody's going to come along and copy you after you've already released it, we'll already be onto the second or third effect, right? And the only reason they're going to copy you is if you're successful, right? So,
right.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good way to answer that. And I think that question may come up in terms of, how are you protecting this? But I think all of those points are valid.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, now it comes down to the final question. Based off of what we heard today, no previous interactions with Gavin before, Josh, would you take this company to due diligence?
So honestly, no, but I feel bad saying it.
It's a cool tool. It's a cool tool. I'd love to see it happen. But no, Josh, why would you probably pass on this?
Well, so let me do the nice thing first. So what I was trying to compare this to in my head is I've seen an app on Instagram come up continuously that literally all it does is replaces the background of your profile picture with like a blue circle or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you on a blue circle instead of a background. Just removes the background. And then kind of on the magic eraser thing. I think that if you can have a really, really quick and easy, very unique, possibly algorithmically based solution that has some IP protection behind it to edit photos, I think that works really well. I think from my perspective, I just don't think you've had enough of time to actually figure this out yet. I think your team is trying to develop software with a lot of people that haven't operated in this business or this space before, and that's fine. And that's really why I'm suggesting the no-code solutions and things like that to have a baseline. But I would be worried to deploy capital, even in the first place, to a team that doesn't really have product management experience or necessarily social media marketing experience, which seems to be the core demographic here.
Yeah. Good points. So, yeah, I think it would be a little early for me. Tim's point about the traction, I'd want to see some traction with it. It may be something where somehow you bootstrap to get to that MVP and demonstrate that this is out there, how many people are using it. And at that point, I think you can start to really get some interest in terms of investors. I think you're a little bit early for that. I do wonder if there might be a crowdfunding type of a opportunity there where people could put some money in because they want something like this. And they're like, hey, I would love to invest in seeing this happen. And maybe that could help you get to at least that MVP. And from there, I think you can gain that traction that you...
Yeah. We're looking at that as well to do it through. Kickstarter through. Yeah, so I'm talking with a friend of mine who's got a big Facebook group of Photoshop users. So what we're going to do is say, look, I'll give you, $300 worth of my Photoshop software for free if you say you're going to put $20 into a Kickstarter campaign, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna agree with everyone else. I think it's just a little too early, but I want to make sure that what Josh said is kind of heard from a lot of people. A lot of people are early, and traction is really, really important. And traction comes in many different ways. If you had a wait list of 100,000 people who saw your demo, the one you just gave us, waiting for this app, that changes everything, right? It shows us that you know how to market, right? Because you had to get those people. Like, it shows us that you can hire someone to build a product. That's an easy thing to fix. But the marketing side of a product like this is really, really difficult. And so if you can show you can get a significant amount of people waiting for the product to be built, then you can leverage those in a crowdfunding campaign, right? Which shows, again, another form of traction. You go out and build the thing. And tools like Bubble.io, I mean, PitchUs is built off of Bubble.io. Builder.ai is another great resource out there. There's a lot of these great no-code tools. Wix is even less code to go out and prove that people want this thing. And I think that's a element of traction a lot of early people don't put enough effort in towards. And so I would highly, highly recommend that. And this is one of those ones that I would follow because we just saw the huge acquisition of Canva by Adobe. You know, these types of applications are on the radar because of TikTok, right? Because YouTube stories, because of Instagram stories. So I think it's an interesting idea, and I would love for it to become a business. So I hope you follow up with us because I think it's
agree.
cool.
I would love to use the app. So, I mean, you've got that going for you. You've got that wow factor of this is cool. I would love to use it. I want to see a business made out of it.
I thought the Canva example is great. That's actually what I led with at the very beginning. I'm like, oh, it's Canva on your phone. But like, if you look at the Canva, the lady who started Canva's story, it's incredible and it's inspirational. For years, Canva was basically, oh, so I can drag circles around on like a white page. Canva was difficult to use in like 2011. But she kept with it. And I would just say, just keep with it and keep building and just make it and just keep making it. And it will just get better and better and better and better and better.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
all
great.
Right. Yep.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much for presenting.
Yep. Thank you.
Josh, thanks for joining us. If you guys are out there needing help with pitch decks, please reach out to us. PitchUs.io, apply to present, come on our show. If you need help with your finances, please check out Forecaster. There's a link below somewhere to get a huge discount, best discount you can get out there. So we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you.